And welcome to episode 32, part of John's Eclectic Photo Time Adventure, the Sturgeon Moon rising on 8 and 9 August 2025. And tonight, for this adventure, Miya would be accompanying John, for she was to be the video photographer carrying the Osmo 3 to record John's comments and opinions as they drove from Colleen out to the Copper's Cove hilltop. And so today is the 9th of August. Tonight we are heading out to do the golden hour moonrise for the Sturgeon Moon. And once we get on site, we'll continue the video. The summer heat of central Texas had not yet given way to evening cool when John parked his SUV on the hilltop west of Fort Hood. The place was quiet except for the faint hum of katydids and the occasional bark of a dog echoing across the small community of homes perched around the water tower. It was August 8th, 2025, the night of the Sturgeon Moon, and John, a landscape and wildlife photographer, was attempting something he had never tried before, capturing a moon streak. And we're currently driving through the back roads of Copper's Cove, Texas. I'm going to turn around here and show you where we're going to go. It's going to be this water tower. It's kind of hard to see since I can't zoom while I'm driving, but it's up there on top of the hill. We'll be there in about another 15 or 20 minutes and get set up. The hill was one of his favorite scouting spots, a raise about 15 miles from the sprawling army post. From here he could see the broad sky open wide, with Fort Hood's silhouette cutting faintly against the horizon. It was the sort of location that looked unremarkable in daylight, but transformed into magic under the right light. Tonight promised one of those transformations. Unloading his gear with practiced precision, John placed 3 tripods into position, spacing them just far enough to avoid tripping over his own work. The Canon R6 Mark II would handle exposure bracketing, a dependable tool for layering together the high dynamic range of twilight. The older R5 would run video, a rolling record of the moon's climb into the Texas sky. And then the wild card, the Canon R6 Mark II, tasked with a 25-minute exposure to capture a luminous streak as the Sturgeon Moon rose. He had studied the instructions carefully, downloaded guides, and cross-checked settings. Now came the test. Before the moonrise, there was always waiting. John passed the time by taking some test frames, checking sharpness, confirming alignment, correcting slight tilts on the tripod legs. He paced between the cameras, sipping coffee from a travel mug. Soon, curious neighbors began to appear. First, an older gentleman who noticed the gear on his evening walk. Then a family with 2 young kids in tow. "What are you doing out here?" one asked, eyeing the tripods. John smiled, always ready for such encounters. From the back of his SUV, he pulled out a 13 by 19 portfolio book, flipping it open to reveal his past works. Landscapes bathed in dawn light, star trails arcing across black skies, wildlife framed in patient composition. The pages glowed under the portable lamp, and the onlookers leaned in. Suddenly, the mystery of his presence made sense. They began to understand tonight wasn't just about watching the moon. It was about capturing it in ways their eyes alone could not. By the time the golden edge of the Sturgeon Moon began to rise, the crowd thinned. Only John remained, focused and steady. To the naked eye, the moon was faint, lost in atmospheric haze. But the sensors of his cameras told a different story. On the R5 Mark II, brackets layered the orange glow in dramatic tones. The R5 quietly whirled, recording its video. The R6 Mark II began its long, delicate task, tracking 25 minutes of lunar climb. When the exposures finished, John reviewed the R6 image and frowned. The moon had escaped the frame, streaking right out of view. It was a learning curve, and he knew the only solution was to return the next night. He packed his gear, the Texas night warm and quiet, and drove home, already thinking about adjustments. So we're getting everything set up here, and so I've got the R6 Mark II right here, which is going to be the 25 to 30 minute moon streak. And then over here we have the Canon R5 Mark II that's going to be doing the video for tonight. The next day, August 9th, John reviewed every detail. The R5 video had captured steady footage, but required smoother transitions and exposure. He corrected that by switching ISO to auto. The R5 Mark II had handled bracketing well, but he tightened his initial shutter speed to 1/40th for better definition. And the R6 Mark II, the heart of the experiment, needed its composition adjusted. He set it to portrait orientation, left adjusted the frame, locked in the zoom at 179 millimeters, and reduced the exposure to 20 minutes. It was a careful recalibration, the kind of thoughtful refinement that photography demanded. And so we're approaching the hill over here with the water tower on top. That evening he returned to the hilltop. The community was quieter tonight. Only a couple out walking their dogs stopped to ask about his setup. John showed them images from the night before, and they gasped at the fiery orange streaks, marveling that something barely visible to the eye could appear so vivid through the lens. Their excitement warmed him, reminding him why he shared his work. Then came the moment. The Sturgeon Moon crested the horizon, this time during the blue hour. Unlike the previous night, John caught a glimpse of it with his own eyes, pale and resolute against the fading indigo sky. He scrambled between tripods, start the video, check the brackets, lock the streak exposure, and then stood back, watching each camera quietly work. So we finished up shooting the moon, and here it is. It's already risen up pretty high, and it is really glowing on this. Came up beautiful orange. When it was over, he packed up with a satisfied calm. The images, the streaks, the video, all of it was stored safely in memory cards waiting to be reviewed. Tomorrow would be busy. Hours of editing, layering exposures, creating a time lapse from the video, and seeing if his first moon streak truly matched the vision he carried in his head. Driving home under the fading glow of the Sturgeon Moon, John felt the quiet joy of pursuit, not just of images, but of moments. Each night had been different. Each had taught him something, and each had reminded him that the beauty of photography wasn't only in what the camera captured, but in the waiting, the learning, and the sharing along the way. And we hope you enjoyed this episode of part of John's Eclectic Photo Time Series Adventure, episode 32. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and hit that like button. Thank you.